I'm gonna test the new record a skill feature in Claude Cowork. I'm actually gonna test it on computer use to some extent. I'm gonna see if I can compile like a few different things together. It's not a very realistic workflow, but hopefully it'll give both myself and you all an idea on like what it could potentially do in terms of creating a skill for your Claude account, but also potentially even computer use related skills. For this demo, I'm actually gonna take the weather app on my Mac. I'm going to look up 3 different locations and pull the weather for tomorrow, like the next day, and take that data and then put it into a Google Sheet that's going to be using the connector. And I'm going to see how well like it can create the skill to do this. That way, obviously, going forward, what would happen is I run that skill, it pulls, like maybe I could set it on a scheduled task to run every day to pull the next day. Why do I need this? I don't, but I want to test the computer use, and this was kind of the example that my brain thought of, at least to start out. Low stakes. So here in Claude, if you go to the plus button here, you can click on this plus button and you should see record a skill. So if I click on this, you should see it'll say your screen, clicks, typing, and voice are recorded, then sent to Claude and turned into a repeatable skill. So you can see my voice, my mic is already moving. So I'm just going to click start recording. Okay, so it popped me back here. So it looks like it closes Claude. So what I want to do is I want to take the weather for 3 locations. I want to take tomorrow's weather for each of those 3 locations, and I want to save it into a Google Sheet that I'll create here for you to be able to log each day when I run this task. So the first location is I want to go Houston, Texas. From there, after we've looked up Houston, Texas, we will grab the weather for the next day. So this is today, so then I'll grab the weather for Saturday in this case, but it'll just be the next day, tomorrow. I will grab the low and the high, 93 and 78, and we will put it in this Google spreadsheet. You can use the connector in Claude for this. You do not have to use the browser or computer use for this specific task. So I will call this weather tracker, and we'll say location, date, low, high. So I'll say Houston. Today's date is 7/24/26. The low was for, actually this is going to be, the date is going to be tomorrow's date, so it'll be 7/25/26. The low will be 78 and the high will be 93. And then the next location is going to be Phoenix, Arizona. It's pretty hot there today. We'll scroll to the weather tomorrow. This is absolutely insane. So 93 and 114. So we'll say Phoenix. We'll use the same date, 93 and 114 for tomorrow's weather forecast. And then the last one we'll do is Amsterdam, Netherlands. Not New York, Amsterdam, Netherlands. So then tomorrow, the low is 62 and the high is 76. We'll put the same date, low 72, but we know 62, high 76. Just make sure I got that right. Yep. Okay, and then from there, we are done. So that'll end the task. Okay, so you can see here afterwards, it recorded the demonstration for 189.7 seconds. I would imagine what it's going to do is actually just like watch back this video. I was having an issue with Claude where I couldn't click a button, but I think it's resolved. I'm able to click the buttons now. So it's asking to fetch pages from different places. It was asking about Meteo, METEO. I actually don't know what that is. It's asking for another one here, so I'm going to allow these. So I assume what is happening behind the scenes is it's actually watching this recording, and I'm assuming by watching it actually is basically just taking screenshots of the video every half second or second. I don't know how often it is, but probably pretty often. It's watched me and it's decided that it's actually too difficult to use computer use for this because it can go get this information elsewhere. So it's probably just going to like go look at each of these web pages compared to the numbers that I got, and then create the skill using one of like the public websites, which actually makes a ton of sense. One of the things that it mentioned in the announcement is that it can actually like recommend connectors, and it looks like it might be doing that now. It's searching the MCP registry, which means it's actually looking at what connectors it has access to, or what connectors that are available in Claude. So it could recommend a connector that might work for this. We'll see if that's what it does, or if it just decides to use some of the websites. So we'll let it go for a minute. I would imagine because this is almost 190 seconds, this will probably take a little while for it to go through and create all of this. So we'll check back here in just a minute. Okay, well, I said it was going to take a minute, and it actually finished like 5 seconds after that. That was insanely fast. I actually don't even know what all's happening behind the scenes here and how this is working. I mean, you can see it created the skill on the right here. This is the skill. I suspect that the first thing that it tries to do is actually just like transcribe what I said to see, like, it's probably trying to decide if it even needs to watch all of the video. If there's anything that's not very clear in like what I'm saying, then it probably goes and takes screenshots of the video. So it tried this open-meteo and WTTR.in. Best fit is the X weather connector in the registry real forecast API exact numbers. So yeah, it's suggesting actually a place that it can go grab this data. So it's saying Chrome fallback. So it's trying to use an MCP, and then it's suggesting like loading Claude in Chrome for the skill. So every time the skill runs, it'll open open Chrome and go search for these websites. Which is fine, and then web search last resort. So that actually makes sense as part of the skill. Not what I had in mind initially, but kind of smart. And then it's suggesting the Sheets API, which I would have to go add this in Cowork or in my admin settings to be able to access this API through Cowork, which is fine. I could do that, but for this specific case, I don't know if that makes sense. Kind of thought it would just be able to edit a sheet. So here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to actually switch this so I don't have to approve everything. I'm going to say, instead of grabbing it from the web, can we do computer use to grab it from the weather app on my Mac, which is where I got it this time around? And then can we use Claude in Chrome to drop the data in to the Google Sheet instead of using the Sheets API, because I don't have that set up currently. So I'm going to say that and see what Claude thinks about this, and maybe it thinks that's fine, so it might actually just rewrite the skill. This should be relatively quick, but I don't know. I've honestly never tried to create a skill for computer use. I just don't know what it's going to say. Okay, so it rewrote step 2 to use Claude in Chrome for the Google Sheet. Okay, so I have computer use disabled. Okay, well, you learn something new every day. So apparently computer use is not available on the team plan right now. So can't ask it to do computer use. So I think we just need to tell it that we need to grab it from a website then. So we could say, okay, then can we use Claude in Chrome to launch the weather channel and grab the information from there and then put it into the Google Sheet. Claude is now trying to open weather channel. You can see it navigating here. It keeps asking me for permission to do things. So I'm trying to continue to approve that. I think this is because I have my settings, my org admin settings, to where I have to approve every action for Claude in Chrome, just because it's a little bit more, quote, dangerous, just because it's actually browsing the web. But you can see here it like opens a little tab for itself and it's navigating around in here, grabbing the data. It's actually going pretty quickly. This was not part of the demo originally, but the Opus is, I'm using Opus 5 for this actually, which just came out. It's supposed to be much better at computer use. I would imagine it's also better at using the browser, and it seems to be much faster than the other tests that I've done with this using Opus 4.8 and even older models. We'll see. It historically has been really bad at using Google Sheets as well, so we'll see. So honestly, it's probably getting confused now because they already grabbed that data and put it into the Google Sheet. Still updating the skill though. It was saying that Houston using a plus in the URL gave it an error. So yeah, so it basically said exactly what it would be getting whenever it gets to the website. It gave it some information on like what happens or like why it might be getting errors in some cases. So it's pretty much written this whole skill. All I have to do is just click save skill, which I actually know what the skill is called right now. So I'll just save it. A weather log, okay. Let's open a new chat. Let's go weather log. Do it for 7/26. Let's see. Again, this is obviously like you don't really need to log the weather. The point is I recorded the skill. It created it. I did have like more iteration with it than I anticipated just because I didn't realize computer use wouldn't be available, but still did a pretty good job of creating the skill even though on the first pass from what I recorded, which was pretty cool. Yeah, I'm gonna have to approve all of these. This is because of my org admin settings. I think it's using this one now. Okay, let's go into the Google Sheet, see how well it uses this. Move my cursor away. Yeah, I got all three of those really quickly though. It's gonna have to figure out how to get this data into the correct columns. Okay, well, it did it. This wasn't the purpose of this, but Opus 5 is unbelievably fast at using the browser and Google Sheets now. Like in Opus 4.8, when I tested this like a week or 2 weeks ago, couldn't even use a Google Sheet. So that was kind of impressive. Which one has the biggest? Let's check Amsterdam to see. I don't actually know what this is Amsterdam. Okay, so the 26th was 60 to 69 degrees. So yeah, you got that right. All right, so yeah, skill worked. So well done, I guess, to Claude, to the record a skill feature. I don't know if this was helpful or not, to be honest. I do really like the record a skill feature that they added. Like, it makes a lot more sense, obviously, if you're just like doing a task on your computer, whether it's like in a web browser or elsewhere. So, or even literally just talking about like what you wanted to create is probably a pretty good way to use the record a skill feature that they added as well. So like I said, I don't know if this was helpful. Hopefully it was. And yeah, let me know if you want to see more stuff like this. Thanks.